Our keynote speaker is Lan Guan. Lan is the Chief AI Officer at Accenture. And there she also runs their AI Center of Excellence, which has computer science PhDs, not only building models, but looking at solving clients' problems and so on. So she is not only thinking about AI within Accenture with 300,000 employees, or I don't know what's the number, but 800,000. I don't know why I said 300. 800,000 employees thinking about AI rollout to such a large employee base, but also all of their clients and solving their AI and business transformation challenges. Outside of Accenture, of course, Accenture is a big partner for our AI center, and so we really value that partnership. But in addition, under her leadership, Accenture was also an inaugural company partner for Stanford's HAI, so she's played a big role there as well. And besides all of that, I know Lan because she was on a podcast we did, which actually, come to think of it, we should have had the QR code. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. But we have a podcast. It's called AI at Work, and season 1 of that podcast, Lan was kindly a guest on the show, and I had a chance to chat with her then. So it's a great pleasure to have you back, and thank you so much for making it here.
Sure. Thank you, Professor Karthik and Professor Stefano. I'm delighted to be here today to talk to all of you. So just a quick introduction of myself. Been with Accenture for close to, 23 years. Yeah, pretty much a born consultant, and I've always been doing AI machine learning since day one I joined Accenture. So I was very thrilled, right, to be part of this AI revolution wave, right, since the ChatGPT explosion a couple years ago. The demand for our services just shooting through the roof, right? So very, very thrilled to be leading our. So Karthik mentioned our 800,000 employees, but the practice I'm leading, we have about 45,000 data and AI practitioners on a global basis. They are the ones who wake up every day thinking about, what I'm talking about here, right? How do we help our clients demystify AI, right? How do we bring super strong, technical expertise, industry domain knowledge, right, into different kinds of industry problems, right? Client problems to help them truly unlock the value of their AI investment. So, I'm based out of New York City office. That's, hopefully I will have a chance to also go to the Walton's main campus, sometime later. So just a little bit about myself. I grew up in China. I came to the U.S. About 31 years ago. I guess, I was poor at that time, so I got 2 offers to do my MBA degrees. One was from University of Michigan. The other one was actually from Wharton, but I was not able to afford, right, Wharton MBA. So I went with UFM. And then after that, I also got my doctorate degree in artificial intelligence from City University of New York. So, like I said, I love numbers, I love statistics, I love AI, and very fortunate. I think Accenture gave me this job to really allow me to apply this kind of skills that I learned, from MBA degree, from doctorate degree, right, into the real world problems. So some of the stories. I would talk about, hopefully you will hear some of this real life experience that we're bringing to the table here. So I want to just quickly start from the evolution of AI, right? To me, it's not about diving into each stage, right, of this chart. I think many of you probably have seen this one, right? I think the key message here is, if you think from the industry perspective, right, the client problems business problems haven't changed, right? Things like, companies want to grow their revenue, companies want to drive efficiency, companies want to improve their employee experience. Those problems haven't gone away. But then what we are seeing, is basically the different evolution of the technology, right? I think everything starts from AI, becoming to perceive the world, right? Very differently through language, vision and, speech kind of capabilities. So that's actually very, very relevant to a lot of industry problems that we're solving for. And of course, now the exciting time is we're in the midst of the Gen AI. In fact, over the last 18 months, I can tell you guys, there's no one single client conversation, C-suite conversation that I was having without involving agentic AI. Now everybody's talking about AI agents and how does that, how do my companies leverage agentic AI to disrupt my existing workflows? What are the caveats? What is the organizational implications? Am my company ready for this, right? So it's a very, very hot area of topics. And so I will dive into this more later. And then I think physical AI, right, is not too far away, okay? We as a consulting company, we always want to be at the forefront of this technology evolution and more importantly, enterprise adoption, right? To me, what's super exciting is what I talk to client about is two things about physical AI, right? First and foremost, right, if you think about, all the existing large language model or multimodal model today, right, is based on digital data, right? Publicly available digital data. But, I think those kind of models are not leveraging a lot of, differentiated data in the physical environment, like millions of, episodes about robot movement, right? And, in warehouses, in supply chain, at the shipping dock, right? So we believe that, this is, again, one area of opportunities that current LLM is not solving for. So that's why we're very excited to work with different companies and different startups to actually help them improve this kind of robotic intelligence leveraging physical data. I think the second one, which is super relevant to every industry client, right? I would say some of the misperception out there with physical AI is, if I'm a bank, if I'm a, insurance company, that's not relevant to me. I'm not going to have robot running around in my office. That's only relevant to manufacturing, companies and things like that. So what I always tell them is, no, you're missing the point here, right? In fact, a big part of physical AI is about bringing physical and digital world together, leveraging that kind of robotic intelligence so that you can create digital twin of your organization. You can create digital twin process, right? You can create the digital twin of your organization to simulate, right? To do this kind of a very advanced simulation. And what does that mean? Right? For a lot of C-suite clients, business leaders, this means they can de-risk a lot of things before they actually make the physical investment. So I think that's I'm also curious about, your perspective later, right? But this is how we discuss the importance of physical AI, why this is what every company should be paying attention to, why this is not too far away of future. But I think the most important message I want to leave you with here is perceptual AI, predictive AI. My chart is not even big enough to show other, technology like descriptive AI, diagnostic AI. The point here is business problems are not going away. Something that I was solving for like 20 years ago for revenue growth, for customer churn, customer attrition, those problems are still floating around across different, industries. And, I think, I'm telling my team, it's up to us, right, to actually come to different client setting and pick the right tools. Sometimes diagnostic AI to give you the real view mirror is still quite relevant, right? And how do you do this kind of real-time monitoring, real-time detection? That's super relevant. That's good enough for you to get ROI. But the flexibility of leveraging what we call the AI on its continuum so that business leaders are not losing focus, right? They're focusing on actually what matters to them, which is the business objectives like revenue growth, like customer growth, efficiency. So AI just become a set of tools, right, that they can leverage. Okay, so I'm not going to join all the details here. This one, I would admit, this is what I created. Probably 6 months ago. I would say probably 2 out of the 6 trends are no longer, the hot trends. This is how fast this technology is moving, right? But let me just quickly touch on some of this. I think the reasoning, the burst of the reasoning model around January, February timeframe, right? That was a hot topic. Why? Because of a DeepSeek model, right? The open source reasoning model, and really caught a lot of business leaders attention. Right? So how do you actually do, how do you look at the models evolving from what we call the few-shot AI, one-shot AI prompting, right? Setting up some kind of a chatbot application, very quick response, right? Maybe the search retrieval type of responses that you can ask questions to, LLM, right? Sort of the fast thinking, moving away, right? Moving away from that to actually slower thinking, more analytical thinking, system 2 kind of thinking. That's what we were seeing from the emergence of the reasoning models. So I would say, now 6 months later. Right, of course, O3 model was kind of following, the trend there, right? And then the more reasoning models are coming out, but I think enterprise adoption of the reasoning models are very, very at its infancy stage. So lots of education needs to be happening there. Things like, okay, now you're doing inferencing side compute, you're doing testing side of a scaling. What is the cost implication? Okay, so business leaders are asking this kind of questions. Yes, what are the scenarios that I should be doing reasoning on, reasoning off, right? How do I actually reach that optimal point of, yes, you can show the reasoning trace, you can do the slower thinking when I'm processing insurance claim, right? When I'm doing, maybe the understanding the KYC problem, in banking industry, but then what is the cost implication? Right? What is that cost-benefit ratio? Many companies need to get educated there. I would say the second one, we talk about agentic AI. So again, on this point, right, I think there are just a lot of misunderstanding of what AI agents about, and why this is something that every industry is paying attention to. I think there was a report from Gartner a couple months ago about agent washing, right? There's a lot of RPA technologies, they just get stressed up and now they're connecting to the LLM and then everybody say, I'm doing agents, right? So what we're talking to our clients about is you really need to think about, a couple of differentiated capabilities, right? Characteristics of the AI agents, things like ability to, do planning, ability to be goal-oriented, right? Intention-based architecture, agents talking to each other, orchestrated agents, activating different kinds of utility agents. So almost like think about this is your digital team. Okay, so I have some examples there. That's how you actually will be able to get exponential benefits, right? Truly getting to the autonomous nature of the AI agents. So again, my point here is lots of education, demystification that need to happen there. Okay, custom models, custom trained. Specialized language model or small language models, again, at its very infancy stage. And this is the area that I feel very passionate about to do joint research with academia institutions, because I think, a lot of companies, they're still exploring a lot of, what we call the out-of-the-box model, right? Large language model by OpenAI or Google or Meta's, open source models. But then a lot of the challenges, they actually the contextual understanding of all these models, right, in the specific industry setting. So this opens up a new set of opportunities for us to work together to basically say, okay, when do you actually need to be thinking about training your own small language models? Right? How do you address some of the existing concerns you have with potential IP infringement, right, with underlying data that is being used to train the out-of-the-box model? So in the I would say regulated industries like banking, insurance, healthcare, some of the public sector, state governments, this is a hot topic right now, okay? And then I think another one that kind of related to this, I'm going a little bit off the slide here, is also, it's just my proof point of this space is moving so fast. Something that we said literally 9 months ago, now we're kind of undoing this. We're unlearning from there. It's on-prem AI. Okay, on-premise AI, meaning AI, you're doing AI in your data center, right? Within your own kind of, behind your own firewall, right? So like I would say 9 months ago, we were one who also was talking to the client about, okay, difference between the classical AI and Gen AI. And we're also saying, wow, okay, in order for you to get value out of the Gen AI, you really need to move everything to the cloud because you're basically using cloud-based model for the most part, right? Technology has moved so fast. Now we're actually working with different hardware providers like Dell, HPE, Lenovo to basically make this kind of serving of the open source models available, right, from their own kind of a hardware racks, which is, again, eye-opening for a lot of the clients. Now they're like, oh, okay, I can actually create my own agentic AI without moving anything off my premise, right? To actually do this in the secure, highly secure environment. So something that, again, I think academia also needs to start paying attention to. Just this kind of multiple deployment model, flexibility moving from cloud to cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, this kind of, infrastructure setting and portability of the intelligence is something that, again, we're still at the pretty early stage. Okay, so I'll skip the last two, but like I said, this is I mentioned this trends is not, to me is I think you probably pick up some of the themes from my talk track is I think technology is still moving fast. There just opens up a lot of opportunities for consulting company like us, right, to collaborate, partner with academia institutions like Wharton, right, so that we can bring very practical, right, kind of applied R&D to our clients in, a variety of the different areas. So many people ask me, right, what does good look like? How long you make it sound like everything is just still early stage, right? So what does a business leader think about, right? How do we go talk to them to inspire them to say, okay, when you have, this is what the good look like. So I have two quick examples here. Okay, the first one is actually, this is a public story. The travel companion, AI application that we built for this prestigious airline, Saudi airline. Okay, I think to me it's just this is a one example that this client actually was very ambitious. Okay, so they decided, of course, they did a lot of AI to help their employees too, but at the same time, they have the gut. They also ask for expertise, external help, so that they actually implemented this at their customer-facing application. Okay, so what does this mean? So think about Saudi airline, again, very large airline in Middle East, right? But their ambition was very big. They do not just want to be the best airline in the region, okay? They actually want to help the country, right? Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to transform its national image, right? To become the destination of the choice for international visitors. So they felt like, as one key airlines there, they also have the mission there. Okay, so but on the other hand, if you think about travel, I think many people are traveling from outside of San Francisco, right? Travel is what we call the journey full of moment of anxiety. Okay, you don't need me to tell you, right? You're like, okay, your anxiety level is getting up so high when you think about, now you have to head to airport. Now all these things, personal travel or business travel. So this is exactly the kind of pain points that Saudi Airline wants to address, right? Basically, think about AI now can become your end-to-end travel companion, right? Show compassion, right? Show a contextual understanding of you, Lynn, right? Who you are, or Jen, who you are, what is your travel preferences, right? What is your family needs? All the way from beginning of the travel planning, okay? Exploring the destination. So that's what we have done, right? So basically say, okay, now what if you have a travel companion, right? Which can do all these things for you, right? exploring the destination. I want to go to Egypt. What are the things I should be looking at, right? Given my, life stage segment I'm in, right? My budget, my timing of the travel, right? What are the things that will actually matter to me? All the way to, okay, now I explore the destination. Now I actually want to do plan the trip. I have 3 days. I want to spend, $2,000 here. My kids love museum, music. Okay, how do you actually plan that day by day or even hour by hour kind of trips itinerary for me? Not to mention now you get on the trip, right? All kinds of exception handlings, the flight delays. What is the downstream impact of the flight delays on hotel, cancellation, right? Rental car cancellation, rescheduling. So imagine that this AI is following you all the time, right? Understand your context, right? Your travel context, your personal preferences. Also watching out for you, all kinds of what we call the ambient insights, weather condition. Are there any hot events going on in this location? Should I make the real-time adjustment to my trip, right? Just like a very thoughtful true travel companion for you, okay? So this is what we have implemented at this airline, basically serving now 9 months later. It's serving about 300,000 active users. I think the 20 million prompts that have been asked to this travel companion, and I think this is a story that I always talk about because it's. As the technology evolved, we also evolved from the initial Gen AI. Now we actually implemented a team of agent, research agent, the customer experience agent, right? Competitive intelligence agent. The agents are actually powering this kind of impact behind the scene. Okay, so that's one example. Second example is Accenture internal story. Okay, I will let just so you can see some of the ambient insights here. So what is this, right? So this is also something that highly repeatable because if you think about marketing, right? Which company doesn't have marketing? Of course, in our case, right, we do a lot of B2B marketing because Accenture, we work with a large client organization. Most of them are G2000 companies, right, on a global basis. Now we're also working with the mid-market clients. So we do B2B marketing. So example of B2B marketing will be, okay, for example, thought leadership marketing. Like every year, we launch something called Tech Vision. Right? So the most recent one was just launched about 6 months ago. It's called Tech Vision 2025. Okay, once we launch that, right, then we need to launch a marketing campaign so that worldwide business know that hey, these are the trends that Accenture is very bullish about. Right, and then this kind of campaign needs to be replicated, market to market, industry by industry. Right, so So we basically have 3,000 marketers in Accenture, right? Doing this kind of a strategic planning of the marketing campaigns, campaign execution, end to end, doing the marketing ROI measurement, so that we can understand which tactics, which campaign, which audience actually works the best. At the end of the day, it's about the ROI, right? So today, and like I said before, we implemented this project. Our work was also quite manual, right? We have lots of marketers, just rely on, their own experience, right? And trying to improve the marketing efficacy. So now what you're looking at here, and let me start from the outcome, okay? You can read the results here, right? This is basically being used by our 3,000 marketers on a daily basis now. It's been in production for the last year, right? 25 to 35% of the reduction in manual tasks. The initial campaign management steps was dropped from 85 steps, right? Very sequential step down to like 35 steps, okay? And I think the most important part is the marketer is very happy, okay? They actually filled in, now they're actually part of the AI training, right? They can do reinforcement learning with human feedback. They can help improve the efficacy of the model, okay? So I think this will run a little bit, but what have we done, right? So when many people ask me like, oh, you're doing something in marketing, you must be, creating some very cute images, right? Using AI. No, that's not what we did. I work with my CMO. We actually say, okay, what is your pain point, right? And then we have scientists who truly understand the full power of agentic AI. Right? So we work together. We brought our researchers, research scientists, our AI scientists, and the marketers together. Right? Basically, we said, oh, okay, a lot of this campaign, problems we have, lower ROI is because people are not thinking upfront. The strategic planning of the campaign was not done properly. We're like, that's great. That is something that we want to use agentic AI to solve, because for marketers to do a lot of this upfront planning, you actually have to be using data-driven approach. You have to think about, oh, okay, this campaign that I want to launch, is my competitor doing something like this? Is Deloitte or KPMG doing something like this, so that we can avoid the clashes there, right? Or you want to look backwards to say, oh, have I done something like this before? What worked before? What didn't work before, right? So what I was describing here is basically the thought process, the cognitive science process that we were pulling out of our marketers' head to say, oh, wow, if you are the high-performing strategic planner, right, strategic advisor of the campaigns, what is your thought process? What are the data sets that you're using? So that we train the AI, our research scientists, just listening, right? I basically told them, for the first 2 days when we did the workshop together, my research scientist became the sort of the behavioral scientist. Just watch and listen, right? And ask questions. And then they start doing the design together. Okay, so this is a kind of approach that we're rolling out for all the agentic AI implementation, which I think is quite different. So in this case, we built 15 agents. Okay, 4 of them are super agents, right? One of them is what we call the strategic planner, okay, strategic advisor, which basically can understand your intent. Okay, I'm working on, thought leadership marketing for this campaign, right? How do I actually activate a team of utility agents, what we call the specialist agents, right, to do authoring, to do research work, to do competitive analysis, to pull data from our Salesforce system, right, to understand the trend or campaign efficacy. So basically every agent is specializing, its own specific areas. So that now this is something that we're rolling out to many organizations to help them improve marketing efficacy, campaign effectiveness, something that I think, is, again, it's just another story of what does it good look like, right? All right, so I told you 2 stories, okay? We have many, many stories. I did not mention that, in Accenture, we started investing in Gen AI, now agentic AI, about 2.5 years ago, right? We have invested, again, all public information, we have invested $3 billion, okay, in these areas, basically building talents, building solutions, right? Working with the startups, working with the partners, because we just cannot do this alone. That resulted in 6,000 Gen AI projects, okay? We actually did the recent count, and, basically about 1,200 distinct organizations have used our services, right, to start doing Gen AI, now agentic AI. So quite, I would say, quite a powerhouse, right, in AI in this space. But I'm not bragging, right? The reason I mention this is actually I'm setting up myself to say, wow. I think what Professor Stefano showed earlier, the bar chart, right? 30%, you said the organization that you survey has actually get the moderate return. That resonates so well with me. Okay. In fact, what we are seeing, the empirical evidence based on the sample size that we have, right? We're actually finding less than 10% of organizations have actually scaled, which is a little bit higher than the MIT report. Okay. So now I talk about what does it good look like. I want to switch topic. I want to talk about what happened to those 90%. Okay. This 10%, the 2 stories I talk about is part of the 10%, right? The companies who have actually figure out something, and then now they already started getting the initial taste of the scale AI. But the other 90%, they are struggling. Okay, so if I talk, I would say what is a success formula for the 10%, and then I talk about the blind spots. There are three things here, right? When we study those 10% of the companies, what does good look like? First of all, ruthless focus on value. Okay, they take a value-led approach. Okay, I think I gave you a little bit hint earlier, right? Business problems were not going away. But we see a lot of companies actually got enamored by the technologies that, oh, wow, today I want to try the reasoning model. Tomorrow, oh, GPT-5 is coming out. Maybe I should go try that, right? Oh, okay, there's something super cool called confidential computing. Maybe my organization can start adopting that, right? I work with a lot of CIOs, CTOs, CDOs. They start chasing shiny object of the technology, not doing the first thing. But that's not what you heard from my story, right? The Saudi airline story. They had that very big ambition. They was like, okay, that's their North Star. Accenture also set out the ambition because we want to be the top marketers, right? To help our customers improve the experience, do better campaigns. So North Star, be super value add is very important. Okay. Do you have a crystal clear value proposition for the AI, project? I think that sounds like a, straightforward question, but I will tell you, a lot of C-suite leaders are still struggling, right? Keeping this in mind. Okay. I think the second one, be intentional with the business case. Yes, you have the North Star, but we're also saying that again, just be figuring out the business case of the AI investment is very, very hard. Okay, this is an area that I'm also keen to understand. What is the academia point of view, right? How do we actually, because there's just so many things are changing, right? So many things changing. How do you isolate all these changing factors and actually say, oh, this is what AI has contributed to? I don't think we have solved that problem. Okay, the third thing is. Before I go there, I would say as part of the second one, what bothers a lot of my clients, why they don't think that they were able to get to that compelling, repeatable business case. One part is the value articulation. Second part is they are getting hit by a lot of cost implications of Gen AI and agentic AI. Okay, you don't need me to tell you AI can get expensive very, very quickly. Okay, especially for this stage of AI, right? I oftentimes use myself as an example. I don't know what everybody's background is. I grew up building machine learning models. I probably personally have built 500 models, but until the large scale transformer architecture arrived, which we started looking into that, probably around 2019, right? Until that, my data scientists, my AI engineers at that time, we built our own models. We never worry about infrastructure. We never worry about GPU. If we got some kind of a developer laptop from our client project, we were happy, right? But it's no longer the case. Now you have to think about the full stack AI implementation. You think about what is the cost of the infrastructure. Do I need to be get my own GPU, or I reserve quota, right, from the cloud, right? So how many GPUs, right? Data could get expensive very quickly. Operationalize AI continue to be expensive, right? Talent is not cheap, right? So that's what's going through my client's head is that, yeah, you could be coming in and talking about very high value potential of the AI, but the ground reality is I still need to, figure out the true ROI by factoring in, right, the cost implications. So that's a part of the second one too. Okay, so just a lot to unpack to also say, oh, okay, what is that business case, right? How many years will I be able to get a return? Is this something that worth of me moving my funding discretionary spend, right, from other technology to this, right? Should I go to convince my business stakeholders now they should be investing in AI? So it's not just the IT spend, right? Lots of confusion there. Significant change delta. This is we're basically saying, hey, this is all related, right? Think about what is the to-be process, okay? Because we're seeing a lot of this, like I said, experimentation projects that many companies have done, right? They are not able to articulate or hone into this, what we call the significant change delta, as is to be significantly different. When you hear, hopefully, when you heard my story earlier, marketer's story, they were very different because the process is no longer serial. The process is no longer linear, right? We move a lot of things. We actually get rid of a lot of roles, right? And then we use a completely data-driven approach. So we are teaching, educating C-suite leaders, right? Cross industry by industry, what is that change delta that you should be articulating so that you're not just getting what we call the coffee time, right? Many of the experimentation project, right? Yeah, you do these little things. Now I can generate images by prompting LLM. All you are getting is just what we call the coffee time. You're not getting substantial, tangible, repeatable, persistent, sustainable kind of benefits. So these are the three things that I think, it depends on which way you look at this, right? I would say 10% of the companies beyond technology, they do these three things right. Always value led. Pay attention to the ROI, right? Be very cost sensitive, right? Yes, LLM, the token cost is coming down significantly, but at the same time, as you scale, right, there will be billions of tokens, other costs that you should be keeping in mind. So many companies are actually getting to the inflection moment. Should I be having my own model? Right? Should I be thinking about investing the fixed costs, right? So that I amortize this kind of cost because when I scale with this kind of customer population, employee count, does it make sense for me to continue to rent models, right? So again, lots of a new framework needs to get created, new calculator needs to keep getting created, and we are living in the midst of this every day. Okay. What is this? So this is basically talking about technology platforms. I mentioned the three more strategic imperatives, right? This is how we talk to our clients to say, you need to get your digital core right. Okay, meaning you do need to have that tech platform, right? Machine learning, Gen AI, agentic AI, end-to-end enterprise-wide platform to have all these characteristics, right? I'm not going to go through each of them. Getting your data ready. Right, getting your security by design, responsible AI by design. Always be flexible, thinking about, should I build this by myself? Should I be getting the help from my ecosystem partners? Right, those are the constant when companies think about how do they enhance their digital core, what are the technology gaps that they need to start filling, right, with this technology. So beyond the strategic imperatives. If I go to the other side, like I said, 90% of the companies, right, this is a question I got asked a lot, is why did they fail? Why couldn't they cross the chasm? Lang, tell me what are some common, pitfalls, okay? So again, I summarized them. Many, many lessons learned. We also ran into a lot of bumps and bruises, right, doing this project. So it's not like it's a smooth sailing for ourselves. We summarized them into three gaps. I think I surfaced some of this at the podcast, so a little bit of a commercial. If you want a longer version of that, please tune to the podcast. Okay, but performance gap, budget gap, and talent gaps. Performance gap, what is this, right? So again, the AI models are not perfect, okay? Especially when you are considering this kind of pre-built models, right? Models are trained on unless you build a model, right? Build your own model. In most cases, all these models are trained using the publicly available data, which means it doesn't understand your industry lingos, jargons, organizational context. So whatever data that you are feeding in to your context window, right, needs to be clean. Okay, so that was one example that I gave on the podcast. Is I work with telco clients, very large telco clients. Same thing. They were thinking that they are crossing the chasm to become the 10%. So they work with us, basically build this contact center AI application to help their human agents, right, to look up some policies for product, installation. Like, if you want to install your broadband or, Wi-Fi at home, right, you are calling to the telco, say, okay, I ran into this problem. So they're using AI to help the humans to improve customer service. But then it turned out the model wasn't working. The AI application keep giving them the wrong information. Was simply because part of the training process we were using their standard operating procedure that they have been using for years, for decades in the contact center. But turned out the standard, they have 37 versions of the standard operating procedure. How can that be, right? SOP is supposed to be standard, one single source of a truth. So now you are you run into this, garbage in, garbage out situation. You are training AI with 37 conflicting SOPs. But then of course it's easy for them to blame AI doesn't work, right? Then companies stop. Performance gaps is happening everywhere. Budget gap, this is another, again, surprise, right? All I'm doing here is just companies were, running at full speed. They think that they are doing experimentation. They want to scale. The desire is there. Intention is there. And then they run into this kind of practical gap. And simply because, again, when they were doing experimentation, they maybe upload 2 documents as a part of the RAG pattern. They maybe have 5, testers to try this out. When they are actually trying to roll this out to production, everything changed, right? Budget, cost is shooting through the roof. It takes much longer for them to actually, make sure that model is working, model is meeting all the regulatory requirements, right? So this is something that, again, catch a lot of my clients by surprise, and then they are like, oh, the technology doesn't work, not realizing that actually there's some implementation challenges. The third one is the talent gap, and then I will close, right? So I think this is an area that also very common challenge for even large organizations, okay? I work with a lot of like Fortune 10, Fortune 20 companies across industries, right? Many of them have been investing in data scientists, machine learning kind of, expertise, right? But then when Gen AI came, right? Now, of course, agentic AI, all this agent-to-agent communication, MCP, right? Servers, right? Things like that. They felt like they again, get caught by surprise, okay? Because their talent needs to evolve, right? A lot of this, multidisciplinary skill set is becoming more critical, right? Full stack engineers are become more critical. So what they are facing is how do they transform their data scientists, right, to become the full stack engineers, right? So we are talking to them about, hey, in this case, you cannot just stay on the surface level, right? Having that broad skill set is not enough, right? Going deep, right, actually is more important, right? So, like in Accenture, we have taken all of our 45,000 data and AI practitioners, and we basically recast them into this what we call the R12 framework. So one of the roles, that hottest role in Accenture, we personally created that, is actually AI ML computational scientist. So this is a role that, again, span across, right, statistics, economics, computer science, software engineering, right, and basically require the resource to have this kind of multi-skill skill set. So this is I showed this because Karthik mentioned the Center for Advanced AI that we're setting up. This is becoming sort of our crown jewel, right, in consulting. I don't think anyone else in the industry actually have something like this. Right now we have about 100 industry PhDs. Right? Our lab is actually in Mountain View. And I don't want you to think that they are just a bunch of people sitting in the lab doing something that 5 years down the road. They're actually solving all the problems that I was talking to you about earlier, right? This is, I think it's just a very different way of looking at the talents. And all of them are super happy because they came to us and say, some of them came from, you see all the prior experience, Google, OpenAI, in situ, right? The Reinvention, they came to Accenture because now they felt like a lot of this deep technical skills that they learn, now they can actually apply to the very real business problem, right? Right now and not 5 years down the road. So something that, again, I want to share a little bit. So this is I need to. I think I'm running out of the time, but I want to leave you with this too. I would say the imperatives, right? Things that we talk to our clients a lot about. AI is, again, we talk about technology, we talk about business case, we talk about strategy, right? So AI adoption is super hard. It's very, very hard, right? I think these are the two, design principles or reminders I always give to my client. It takes a team sport. Right? It cannot just be Karthik and Lan doing this, in technology, and then the rest of organizations will adopt. It doesn't work like that. Okay? You need to bring the business users along. You need to democratize. The term of democratizing AI means a lot, right, to business leaders. And then the second thing is trust, right? I think there's still a lot of distrust with AI, and simply because I think this technology, again, I compare it to cloud, I compare it to data, I compare it to traditional machine learning. This is much, much more pervasive. Okay? Sometimes I use analogy of I love cooking. I don't know how many of you love cooking, but when you're in the kitchen, right? Now you're getting a very sharp knife. Okay? So you need to know how to operate, how to use that knife. Easily people can, if you cut yourself, you say, oh, the knife doesn't work. No. To me, that's a kind of a vibe, sentiment I'm getting working with this technology. Super powerful, but you've got to know how to harness the power of this. Okay? This is something that I leave with my client with, right? It's never too early, right? Many of them are actually, I'm very impressed. Like yesterday I was with a very large insurance company in San Francisco office. They were actually pushing us. They were challenging us, right? Because I showed them some of the to-be agentic design. They are like, you're still doing, you're still having that today's process in mind. Right? What if we just completely blow this up, right? And I know where I'm here today. I know what I want to get to. Can you use AI completely redesign this process? So many business leaders are pushing us, right? That's why we felt like, we need to work with partners like Wharton, to get this kind of oxygen, nutrition, latest R&D. We cannot do this alone. And I'm really looking forward to continuing the partnership. And hopefully my stories and experience will spark some of the interest, right? Could be, reaching out to Accenture or, working with us on some of the new research or just having debates, right? I don't think we are correct. We are right all the time. But so this is what the kind of partnership that I'm looking for. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Maybe take a question.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Maybe we'll take one or two quick questions and then, transition to the first research presentation. I'll start with Anjana, maybe.
Hi.
Wonderful talk. Thank you so much. Quick question. I do work on responsible AI. So I do wonder about, we talk a lot about this red teaming, blue teaming, adversarial testing, the limits of these precision risk type of models. So I do wonder briefly your thoughts on.
Yeah, no, I think responsible AI, to me, just cannot be more important, right? We actually, when we talk to the client about, we blend that together with AI safety, right? Because especially when I think about the agentic AI, right? I think the ethics, the fairness, all this are, again, these basically part of the design principle. But now we're talking about, elevated risk exposure, right? Yes, agentic AI, when agents are working together as a team, performance expectations are getting higher. But many businesses don't realize now your risk exposure, now agent to agent communication, memory poisoning, data poisoning, right? Backdoor. Kind of newer risk vulnerability factors that they didn't have to care about before. Now it's a reality. So to me, it's that's why I think the last slide I did not get much time to expand is the trust. At the end, right? It's about how do you trust AI. Right? I think responsible AI is a part of that, and we're still at the very infancy stage. How do you do agent eval? How do you? We're actually publishing white paper about agent certification, right? Because there's no industry standard out there right now. right? There's a bunch of model benchmarking. I don't think there's a very industry-specific kind of a agent benchmarking, right? So those are the areas that because we hear from, the beauty of our role is we hear something from 5 clients, we immediately turn around and, do some R&D, we do research, apply research, and then that becomes part of our offering because that's the speed, velocity that is required. Yeah.
Maybe one last question. Yeah, the gentleman here. And by the way, in this room, if you just press and hold this microphone in front of you, everyone can hear it.
Nice.
Hey, great. Thank you very much for sharing your insights. You mentioned that 10% of companies, were successful in developing AI for scale. Among those companies, are there similarities where success happens? I was thinking maybe about industry size or the size of the company. It could be the industry. It could be internal focused or customer focused as examples. What would be?
No, we definitely see common patterns, right? I think having that, one is, we did not talk about, is a top down. Okay, you need to have a CEO level support. CEO needs to be, that's why we're fortunate. Alex, and we talk about this. Our CEO cannot be more vocal about our Accenture. It needs to become AI first, right? So I think to me, that needs to happen. If I think about 10%, always 100% of them have the CEO top down, hands down. Okay, they want AI. Okay, they are not afraid of AI. They are not afraid of all this potential displacement of the jobs. They are ready to embrace, right, this kind of change. I think that's one. Second thing is, I think, where do you start? This is also I would say more art than science. Okay, if I think about those companies, a lot of them don't try to bite off too much. Oh my God, I'm going to transform my entire organization. They actually listen. They actually understand where you can actually leverage this technology the best. Okay, so they may start from employee-facing kind of a function, right? Workflows, and but they also, I think, when they pick the areas of prioritization, they truly understand the technology's potential. Meaning, you do not just want to use AI agent for automation. You do not want to just take a look at your existing process for insurance claim processing, for example, say, oh, now I can do the image recognition faster. No, I can do this, authentication faster or policy interrogation faster. No, they actually throw this out. They actually say, okay, what is true power of AI is because AI can maximize your knowledge capacity, right? Humans on average process 6 tokens per second. I think that's the last time I checked. How many tokens can AI process, right? So again, that's one example of a knowledge capacity. AI has read 300 million books, right? So you need to understand that knowledge capacity and also the AI's power to unearth a lot of hidden knowledge, trapped knowledge within your organization so that you don't just, look at AI as another supercharged RPA. I think to me, I was impressed by a lot of clients who actually are there, right? I have so many stories about the hidden knowledge. To me, this is for example, I work with a very large global logistic client. Let me put it this way, okay? So again, just like their competitors, right? If you think about logistic delivery, they have probably 400,000 people, right, doing things like that. Some white-collar jobs, some blue-collar jobs. But then if you think about that whole industry is getting disrupted, aging population, declining birth rate. I'm not kidding. People, truck drivers are getting to the retirement age. But then if you think about all the enormous amount of institutional knowledge captured in their head, now you need to use AI to unlock that. One story that they told me, I love hearing all this kind of story. They're like, oh, Lan, what you talk about makes sense to me. Because in their company, they basically say, okay, they run all kinds of dashboard, right? Because on-time delivery of the package is super important to them. And then through the anomaly detection, they're finding, this location in New York City, somehow the delivery failure rate is super high, okay? And then they're like, then they dig into this to see why. But every time when this truck driver, John, when he's on duty, the package is always delivered. Why? because it turned out John is one of the many truck drivers have that institutional knowledge, tacit knowledge. He knows the homeowner of that address. So every time he knows, you don't go by that address on the package. You have to go to the back door. You have to, lift a piece of rock. You put the package there. Your package get delivered. That's a, example, right? But many companies through decades of a merger acquisition, right? They are trapped. This kind of institutional knowledge is trapped. So again, 10% of companies, they focus on that kind of thing. They focus on the power of knowledge. They are not just for getting, short-term. They are not just getting enamored by the short-term benefits of, I'm automating something. I think that, to me, that's something that is very, very important to pay attention to. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Lan, thank you so much for joining us.